Tonight on CTV News, cold weather hits and we bring you tips on staying safe this winter.
Then ASCSU votes on a controversial funding resolution.
And CSU takes a stance on a briefing heading to the Supreme Court. All this and more tonight on CTV. A life sentence was given to a man who was found guilty of assaulting a woman. According to the Coloradoan, the suspect, Stephen Moon, was found guilty of 2 counts of sexual assault, second-degree kidnapping, and first-degree assault. He was sentenced to 128 years in prison. The case goes back to 2013 when the then 20-year-old victim was found laying naked and tied up with duct tape. Moon went 4 years before being arrested after his DNA was matched to the DNA collected at the scene.
The Associated Students of CSU met last night to discuss funding resolutions. CTV reporter Allison Tackett has more from the Senate chambers.
It was a packed house at the ASCSU meeting to discuss a motion about reproductive rights and how the Women and Gender Advocacy Center will be affected if this bill does pass. This motion will be voted on in the next upcoming weeks.
And I have to say, I full-heartedly support this resolution.
Sorry. Some of you all are here tonight. It is reprehensible that our survivors feel the need to come out here tonight and speak on our behalf.
Women who wrote this care about women as well, and that's all this is about. This is not racist, this is not transphobic, this is not about putting anybody down.
Another topic that was discussed was that students were being misled to sign a petition supposedly for supporting adoption, when in fact, that was not the case at all.
The situation, then come today, I realized that my name is on the bill supporting the defunding of the Women and Genders Advocacy Center.
The petition was voted on to be dropped and no longer exists. Allison Tackett, CTV, Channel 11.
For more information, you can visit collegian.com.
Colorado State University is joining 165 other universities across the country that have signed an Amicus brief that is heading to the Supreme Court. The brief is in support of the Obama-era policy known as Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. The program was established in 2012 and was rescinded in 2017 by the Trump administration. CSU and the other schools have argued that ending DACA would harm dreamers and it would also harm university attendance. At the time the program was pulled, there were 189 students with DACA.
Fort Collins City Council might be looking at a minimum wage increase. According to the Coloradoan, the city is looking at whether or not to fund a study to figure out how the increase might affect businesses and residents in town. If Fort Collins decides to do the study, it could cost upwards of $85,000. This comes after a new law in Colorado that would allow cities to establish their own minimum wage. Denver has actually already announced plans to a $15 minimum wage increase. Currently, Colorado law has a minimum wage of $11 and plans to increase to $12 on January 1st.
Colorado State University announced an enrollment record for the 2019-2020 school year. More than 34,000 students now attend the university. The official enrollment figure stands at 34,166 students for the Fort Collins campus. Across the CSU system, there are more than 57,000 students. CSU Fort Collins has the highest enrollment rate of the 3 campuses. CSU System Chancellor Tony Frank said, "This fall sets a record in student enrollment across our entire CSU system, pointing to the importance of our long-term investments in student success and an exceptional learning environment."
E-scooters are soon making their way to Fort Collins and to CSU. The city of Fort Collins and the university have been working together to bring e-scooters to the city. The launch for the scooters are taking place on October 23rd. CSU announced their partnership with the company Bird, which will have a $125,000 contract, which will be used for safety education. Over the next 2 weeks, the city and the university will be working on informing residents on laws surrounding these e-scooters. CSU students will also be able to take advantage of their student discount with their student email. The scooters area will be required to follow all traffic laws on campus and across the city. CSU PD is asking that careless driving be reported to CSU PD's non-emergency line at 970-491-6425.
Lauren, what was your first thought when you heard the snow was coming today?
Well, I was definitely disappointed. I wanted more fall weather, but I did think, man, I don't want to clean my car off today, and I was worried about the road conditions for sure.
Okay, yeah, I was definitely worried about getting my heater started, making sure our fire was okay, and along with that comes a lot of unforeseen safety measures. The winter season in Colorado can get chilly, and not everyone may know what to do when temperatures drop and snow starts to fall. I talked to the American Red Cross to get some input.
So if you have to get out, we always encourage folks to make sure that in their car they are prepared, that they have a warm blanket, that they have a day's worth of food, maybe just throw in some granola bars and some bottles of water, things like that, things that would help you to be prepared to ride out a storm if something happens and you slide off into a ditch and it takes a while to get help.
According to ready.gov, if you are under a winter storm warning, it's best to find shelter immediately. Here are some tips for winter home heating. It's recommended that during the winter season, if you are looking for a space heater, you buy one that automatically turns off when it is flipped over. It is also recommended that you have a smoke detector as well as a carbon monoxide detector.
So here in Colorado, the cold season can last. It can start in October, but we can still have snow and cold weather in May. So, 8 months of the year, we could be dealing with frigid temperatures. So if you just take a little bit of time to prepare, you'll be, so much better off down the road.
For more information, you can visit redcross.org.
The Poudre River Whitewater Park is having its grand opening this Saturday after construction wraps up on the $11.5 million project. The project also added safety barriers by lowering the Poudre from 5 to 6 feet under College Avenue to help prevent flooding. The project will also add activities for Fort Collins residents, including tubers and kayakers. This weekend's grand opening will have music, ribbon cutting, and an exhibition showing the history of the area. The event is taking place from 10 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon.
It's October, which means fall festivities like haunted corn mazes and pumpkin picking are finally here. But one corn maze in particular, south of Fort Collins, actually creates and turns 15 acres of corn into art.
Glenn Fritzler is the man behind the corn maze, working all summer long to create this, a Broncos design in the cornfield. This marks their 5th Broncos design in the 20 years that he's been doing this.
Where did the time go? I have no idea, but 20 years went by like that.
The Denver Broncos actually contacted Fritzler himself, proposing the idea to have the design represent the Mile High football team.
You don't say no to the Denver Broncos.
The Bronco Fever theme is also connected to a close partnership with UC Health. This year, they are not only promoting the maze, but promoting health and wellness.
Get the opportunity to partner for health wellness. And again, from a Broncos Fever, it's fun because everybody can get into the Broncos Fever.
The design is stretched across over 15 acres, where the haunted corn maze takes place at night.
We're going to have 2 haunts, and they're brand new haunts, and they're world class. I don't think anybody will be disappointed in our haunts. So
Fritzler's corn maze has seen big changes from the Broncos theme to his partnership with UC Health. But one thing remains the same: their love for their community and the fall season.
Bella, I've actually never stepped foot into a haunted corn maze. I'm just terrified.
I definitely don't think I could do a corn maze because I can't do a haunted house. But maybe this year I'll give it a shot. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's all we have for news tonight, but don't go away just yet. Weather anchor James Hall will let us know how long this cold snap will last.